Let's see here. Jeff Michaels from Boston. 5 years ago today, we posted a review on the new website, Indie Music Plus, but he was actually on the JoeSarahInc.com, I
Oh
think.
wow, he goes
Which,
way
and that
back.
was like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was one of the reviews that we kind of like transferred over when we changed to Indie Music Plus, and we're building the new website and stuff. We wanted to keep all the other ones, but we like cut off a date. So I think there's the first few that we posted are for like July, the end of July, like July 27th or something like that. But still,
Yeah, yeah.
it's very meaningful. So we've been doing this for over 5 years now. So here, let's see. So Jeff Michaels, good to have you here, man. Nice to meet you finally.
Nice to meet you as well, officially.
And I like your shirt.
Ben Folds, got to represent.
Yeah, I got to see him a few times back in the day in St. Louis at the American Theater. I got a nice bird's eye view right over top of it. It was probably one of the coolest shows I've ever seen. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and we're gonna listen to "Better When I'm Older." Give us a little insight into that, and then we're gonna come back and get deeper with Dave.
That sounds great. Yeah, I mean, speaking of 5 years ago, that was the last record we did. Guys did such a great review with a record called Towny Paradise, and
You didn't have to work a day after, right?
it just went multi-platinum, and there we go.
Normally,
No,
what happens?
my whole career been working as a musician and songwriter, and I've been doing this for quite some time. I was playing throughout San Francisco and California and toured for a lot out there, and then I moved. I'm in Boston right now. I moved back home about 10 years ago, and family and other reasons. So now I've been playing out here and formed a new band, and I've been working just like everyone else in the world, back and forth with files and videos, writing songs. So
Yeah.
that's what we got right now. And this new record is actually a result of that. I got together with my longtime guitar player, Scott Barkin, and he produced the record for me. And we did everything here in the apartment, down in his home studio, and tracked a couple things in a real studio. And other than that, it was all back and forth. So that's the way of the world right now for songwriters.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So I agree. You are better when you're older.
Thanks.
I've been waiting all week to say that. All right,
Well,
so
I got a little worried because I heard the word dad rock thrown in there, and I'm like, oh no, as I sit here with my
we're
2-year-old
setting
son's
you up. We're
toy
setting you up,
piano. Yeah.
man.
You wanted to like hide your face or something.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out Better When I'm Older, and we'll be back with Deeper with Dave.
I'm better now, Joe.
Oh, not yet. Okay, go ahead.
I'll be better when I'm older, less hair on my head, for sure. I'll be your perfect companion, polished and brave, calm and secure. Seems such a long way to go, but those days will be here long before you know. I'll be better when I'm older, like a fine wine that waits to pass through your lips. I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with the greatest of men who've ever lived. Seems such a long way to go, but those days will be here long before you know. I'll be better when I'm older. I'll be better when I'm older. Better when I'm older. You'll see. You'll see.
And it's been about 70 years since their heyday, but I mean, I still hear the Beatles' influence on music today, like quite often. and I bring it up in the show even with indie artists. So it's like coming right out of the section where it was the most Beatlesque of your song was, you know, around a minute 40,
Yep.
where the kind of the bridge kicks in. Yeah, man, I was just feeling that that Beatles vibe in that section. So what kind of impact have they had on your music?
I've always been a huge fan of the Beatles. I think there was a show, Sunday Morning Brunch with the Beatles. I used to paint houses during college, and I think every Sunday morning it was on and get 2 hours of every single Beatles song ever written. So you're definitely in my blood a lot. Yeah.
Oh
they're
wow,
awesome.
yeah. It's like it just kind of like seeps in, you know. It's like you don't even probably realize it sometimes.
It's when you least expect it. You pick a chord and you're like, I know where that came from.
Yeah, so and then obviously it's like we have to address Ben Folds because you're wearing the T-shirt. Though we were chatting before the
know.
show just about that being an influence, maybe kind of as the early stage of his career, you know, before he went kind of mainstream with the poppier sound.
Yeah, I think, I'm a, piano playing artist. Piano's right here if you can see it, and I think no matter what, you're going to get compared to Ben Folds if you even remotely sound like him, which I do a little bit in my voice. And I wear the glasses and I kind of have the kicking leg when I'm playing on stage. So I got a lot of comparisons to him. And, but this new record, I think is much different from what we used to do with the piano and everything. There's actually not a lot of piano in it. So it's a little bit more Americana. And yeah, definitely the Beatles have popped up in this. And a lot of that's due to the producer I work with, my guitar player, who's Scott Barkin, who played basically every guitar on there. So his influences came into play along with my own in the writing itself. So it's pretty much, where the collaboration came from.
Cool. Very cool, man. I got to cover some parts of your bio just before we lose time on this one. And it's kind of obviously we have a lot of indie artists and indie fans watching the show and
Sure.
following the website and everything. So, I mean, your music's been placed in a lot of TV and movies. So I was wanting to maybe ask a question from an indie artist perspective and say, I'm sure a lot would just say, how'd you do that, man?
Yeah.
Like how'd you make it happen? Like, what was the process? Or give me a tip how I can do the same.
It's been placed, but not enough. That's why I'm always still working. I got fortunate a few years back with some placements on The Real World when that was airing on MTV. And I worked with a company who does exclusively licensing for that. And then I also got a number of placements where I honestly don't know. I was added to some libraries and you think nothing's going to happen of it. And then all of a sudden I got an ASCAP check in the mail and I said, didn't even know it aired.
Wow.
So sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
But then I've had some very random ones where it's all about, the advice is the connections you make because you never know who knows who. When I moved back to Boston, I met a guy who was shooting a TV pilot and he just heard I was a musician and said, I'd love to hear your music. He fell in love with one of my songs, maybe someday soon. 2 months later, he's like, I'm going to use it for the pilot. Unfortunately, the show never got picked up, but it was still a cool experience. We went to the theater and got to see the song play over the, the credits and everything. So my goal is still to have a theme song in a show that actually gets picked up, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you have that type of flavor in your music too. Like it's trying to think, like, geez, I think the most obvious example is something like, Friends or something.
I would, I'll take that paycheck any day.
Right. And they weren't like anything close to the biggest band in the world. They were kind of, mid-level. What forgot the name of the band. Was
The
it
Rembrandts. They were
Rembrandts, right.
Barely
kind of
known
like,
or little, yeah.
Like B-level artist or something, all of a sudden boom, and then it obviously changes all of their lives and everything. But
Yep.
So yeah, so that was kind of cool. We just noticed it's exactly 5 years to the date. So I think I got to ask the question: how's it been going the past 5 years, man? Like what has happened with your music? How have you matured? How have you changed? Everything. Just
Yeah,
like
well,
a
there
5-year recap.
Everything.
Exactly. The title of the album "Better When I'm Older" was really picked on purpose because I felt like just life got better. I struggled for a long time when I was touring and playing music, nonstop, and about the last 5 years, I sort of took a step back. I play live once a month. You can almost see it from my window. There's a hotel directly across the street. and that's my only gig I've been playing. I play in the lounge there, and it's a wonderful, you know, freestyle piano kind of thing.
Awesome.
I took a break from touring, and you know, I actually we have a 2-year-old now, so everything kind of slowed down. And I realized that my time was limited to write and play, so I kind of did exactly, you know, what I wanted to do, which was just spend a little more time with family and a little less time on music. And I learned that you can write a song very quickly if you know what you're doing. So I wrote this record kind of thinking about that and all the songs, and we only chose the ones that didn't need work. They all just kind of fell into place, and I'm really, you know, proud of the collection that came out of them. There's 10 songs on there, and they're all different, but they all kind of have a theme of, you know, acceptance and growing slightly older and being at peace with yourself.
How about this social media stuff? I mean, do you do any like live stream playing or like streaming or anything like that?
Not yet. Pretty much I've been supporting my friends and watching a lot of shows and donating all, you know, since March. We've been, my whole family actually gather in the living room and watch people work concerts. I was tempted to do a couple, and I think maybe if hopefully, you know, we won't continue next year, but if we do, I'm sure we're going to get back to it and probably do a couple.
All right, cool. Well, I got to point people to your website. It's jeffmichaelsband.com. You can see all of his info, pictures, media, music, all the good stuff over there.
Yep.
Thanks so much for coming by, man.
Of course. I appreciate it.